Here we are on lesson 6, and just to let you know, we will have a mid-module assessment to see how we're doing after lesson 8, so just a couple more to go. Again, just like yesterday, we were taking a look at how some numbers are based on the value of the digits that are to the right of the decimal. Remember I had shown you a place value chart. We're going to be using that again today. What they're asking us to do is to compare two numbers and then use these signs. This one is called greater than this, and this one is called less than, because what you'd have, for example, is if we have 3 is greater than 2. If we switched them and we went the other way, we would say 2 is less than 3. And the thing to note here is that the small end is pointing at the small number in both cases. But in each case, we're going to read just like you read words from left to right. 3 is greater than, see the big open space, greater than 2. 2 is less than, pointing at this little tiny point here, less than 3. And so we're going to be comparing these two numbers, and we can see right here it says 16 and 45 hundredths. We're comparing to 16 and 454 thousandths. And so we're going to figure out which one is bigger. So 1645, let's enter it in on our place value chart. So it was, I gotta look again, make sure we don't mess this up. 1645. So if you have 16, you know pretty well that you're gonna have a 1, a 6 for 16. And then it said, and 45 hundredths. The other one was the exact same thing here, and in the ones place, the tenths place matched, the hundredths place matched. But then, if you look again, here's what differs, is this digit right here that's in the thousandths place. So if we put that in, we put it right here. 454 thousandths. This one has no thousandths at all. And so therefore this one, this number as a whole, is larger than the other one because it has more pieces to it. So we're going to say this one is bigger, so it has the bigger opening. The small point points the little one. Then when we read these out loud, 83 hundredths, 83 hundredths. Those are the exact same thing, so they're equal to each other. If we look at this one is 205 thousandths. What place is this 5 sitting in? Oh yeah, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. It's the same thing also. So those are equal to each other. Now if we take a look at this one, we can see the 9 and the 5, 95 before the decimal, same as the 95 before the decimal. So we can just pretty much kind of ignore those. The big question here, though, is what's in the tenths place? Because the closer you get to having a whole means the larger the number, right? That if you have dimes and your friend has nickels, and say you have 5 dimes, that's the same as 50 cents. Say your friend has 5 nickels, that's only the same as 25 cents. So if it's in the tenths place, you know it's going to be worth more. This has nothing in the tenths place. This one has a 4 and a 5 in the hundredths and the thousandths, and that matches this. But it has this added value right here of paying 5 in the tenths place. Therefore, it's worth more than this one who has nothing over there. This one right here, it does have a number in the tenths place, and this one doesn't. This one's really close though. Just imagine if we added right here, 1,000th. That means it's going to carry over and it'll bump up the hundredths. And if it bumps up the hundredths, it's going to bump up this one. So these are not the same, but they're so close. If this one had 1/1000th more, it would be the exact same thing as that. Isn't that amazing? So that means that this one is a tiny bit bigger than the other one. But it is. So we have to note that by saying that 419 and 1/10, or 10 hundredths, is in fact bigger than 419 and 99 thousandths. Let's move on. Here we have 158 thousandths. 158 thousandths. Let's look at our place value chart again. I'm going to start here. 158. Oop, my cord got in the way. Sorry about that. 158 thousandths. So we have a decimal right here. And then if we look at that other one we had, we look right here and this one says 58 hundredths because the 8 is in the hundredths place. Let's mark it in here. So here's our decimal and it was 58 hundredths. Let's compare the tenths. This one is like having 1/10, but this is like having 5/10. So therefore it's closer to actually having something here. If I added 5 more tenths, I'd have a whole. But I'd have to add 9 more tenths to have a whole over here. So therefore, even though that one, 58 hundredths, only has 2 digits in it, it's actually bigger than the other one. 703 and 5 thousandths. 703 and 5 hundredths. So you can compare. Everything matches except for here. One of them had 5 thousandths. The other one had 5 hundredths. And so nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. So we know that this one is closer to having a whole. So therefore it's actually worth more. So the 5 hundredths is worth more. The next one we're looking at is arranging them in increasing order. If it's increasing in order, it means you start with the small. I'm going to hit pause a second because my cat's getting into my dog food. Okay, sorry about that pause. There was quite a mess going on down the hall there. So again, let's look at the instruction. It says increasing order. So we know that we're going to start with the smallest one. And so we're going to look at the tenths place. Oh, they all have nothing in the tenths place. So let's look at the hundredths place. And we can see that this has 8 in the hundredths. This has 81 thousandths. So this is slightly bigger than this one, but not by a lot. This one's quite a bit bigger. This one is the smallest because it has nothing in the tenths or the hundredths place. So we'll put that one first. 8.008, which means 8 and 8 thousandths. Now we go one very slightly bigger right here. So this is the next biggest because it's 81 thousandths. This is only 8 thousandths. This is 81 thousandths. 8.010ths, 8 hundredths, 1,000th. And then if you look at this one right here, we can put a 0 here. And we know that 81 is followed by 90. Hang on a second. Maybe we should put this here. Oh, look at that. Here's a goof. This says 81. Let's make it into 80. And then we put 81. 8.081. And then we have 8.090. So 8, 80, 81, 90. So it went in increasing order. The next one is in decreasing order. So we start with the biggest one and we just get smaller from there. So this one says 508, This one says 580. This one says 500. But wait a second, there's a 7 on both of these and there are 8s on both of those. So we are going to have a ones place we have to think about. So we're going in decreasing order. So we want the biggest. So if we look between 508 and 580, we know that that's the biggest one. So we have 8 and 580 thousandths. The next biggest is going to be decreasing, the next smallest, 8 and 508 thousandths, so smaller. Now we go even smaller. We look at this one compared to this one. This one is 58 thousandths. There's nothing at all in the tenths place. This one does have something in the tenths place. So that one's going to be bigger than this one. So we want the not so small. So we're going to go 7 and 500 thousandths. The next biggest is 7 and 58 thousandths. Alright, now here's for yours. Scooch on back up here. And get to this one. I'm going to skip out on the one with the chart and just go with this one right here. I would like you now to try what we just did. And if you are putting them in decreasing order, you start at the biggest number and you work your way to the smallest number. And it looks like they all have 76. So then you're just going to be paying attention to these ones right here. Start with the biggest and move to the smallest. Thanks. See you tomorrow.